Hey everyone, so we got a new Detective Conan case, and this Sunday cover makes me laugh. I mean, how can you not, right? The way Mary pours hot tea on Conan like that. Ponkatsu-chan also got to be on the cover too, having 26 pages that week. A series from another of my favorite authors, Fukichi Tsubasa. I might catch up one of these days when I'm less busy with stuff. Anyway, back to Conan. I must admit this case started a little slow. Aside from the usual introduce the suspects and someone dies, it was just Sarah continuing her mission with getting Conan's medicine, but she's been doing this for a while. I wish this plot would just get a move on. But then again, the first chapter focuses more on setting up the case than usual, so maybe that means the case itself has more potential to be interesting. However, I'm not sure what to make of it right now. The victim died of poisoning, but that's not the only issue we're focusing on. Apparently someone also wrote the words divine retribution on the victim's forehead. They seem to be assuming that the one who wrote it is also the culprit. I'm not entirely sure, but I guess it makes sense since it seems this person prepared to write when everything's dark and the victim is dead. I notice Takagi is at least smarter than the usual policeman like Megure. When someone gives an outline for a complicated case, he does it pretty well. Like how the culprit disguised his handwriting on the victim's head. They wrote it with their left hand, although it seems everyone in this case are right-handed. Concerning who wrote on the victim's head, I can rule out Yumi, since when the lights came on, she was still in her seat with Remi and Mitomi between her and the victim. Finding the victim through his glow-in-the-dark glasses is one thing, but the culprit needs to find their way back to wherever they're standing or sitting after the lights came back on. And the area Yumi was in just isn't very practical to reach without bumping into someone. I think everyone would be staying still due to the it being pitch black, and there's also the fact that Yumi finished her cake and wouldn't have time. But then Yumi was the only one at the time who was said to have a working marker, so the others must find another way to write on the victim's forehead. There was that guy Mitomi who has a marker that they said wasn't working, but there may be a trick to make it work. I'm not sure if this works for markers too, but there was a time I ran out of ink with my highlighter and I just pulled out the tip, flipped it and put it back in and it worked again, so maybe he can do that. But if that's not possible, there is another trick he can use, and that's if the marker he let Remi use to sign Rand's autograph and the one the police found were two different markers. There was a moment in 1047 when Mitomi left for a bit to get water, and he could have used that time to switch the marker for a working one. Then, after writing on the victim Mizutoshi's head, he loosened the cap so that later it would look like the same marker. Mitomi was also right next to the victim, so he could have poisoned the guy too, either by switching one of his cake or beverage or dripping poison on it, whichever. Not sure how I'd rule out Remi and Suguo, since it's also possible for them to poison Mizutoshi, but once again I can eliminate Yumi for being seated furthest. So yeah, my main suspect right now is Mitomi, although if this is how the case plays out, it is kind of simple, not too bad I guess, but yeah. And maybe I'm missing something. I guess there's the way the projector's cord was pulled out to make the place pitch black. That seems to have been done intentionally. But then anyone could have done that. Same with the poison found under the table. Remy Strawberry also dropped for a bit. I wonder what that means. It seems we still have another chapter before the resolution, so there may be more information, maybe expanding on these points. Let's see. At least with this latest chapter, we finally got a flashback where we get to see Akai Tsutomu, except not really. It seemed, it was just Vermouth disguised as him. Had you going there, huh? If you need reminding of who Tsutomu is, he's the Akai family dad, and we don't know much about him, except that he investigated the Haneda Koji case and was implied to be dead, and this flashback still doesn't change that. But who knows, maybe there is a twist to it. He may even turn out to be Kuroda or something. Mary was pretty cool here anyways, how she tricked Vermouth into revealing that she wasn't Tsutomu with false information on Tsutomu holding Masumi before he left. Then that's where the chapter ends, with a confrontation between Mary and Vermouth. Things may be getting interesting now. We'll see next week. So you think so too? Let me know in the comments as usual, and hope to see you again with the next chapter. Oh, and by the way, I think Conan and his friends use this excuse a lot. If they want, they can be pretty good serial killers, lol.